that was a thumbs up, Ivy. So I'll take over. I'm not a former or current chief executive officer of United Way Next or United Way Retirees Association, but happy to step in and be part of this social call. And it really is a social call. It's a chance for old friends to get connected to again, and for some of us to make new friends as well. So it's really wide open in terms of the program, if you will. Uh, Carol and Ivy suggested that maybe we start by having the speakers kind of introduce ourselves, and maybe give a couple of minutes on what we've been doing, where we are today, and then we'll ask each of you to introduce yourselves and do a little bit of the same. And after that, we'll open it up for some discussion. Keith, why don't you start us off with what you're doing? It's been pretty interesting for you as you both run a United Way and then are transitioning out. So,
Yeah, thank you, Rob, and good afternoon, everybody. Keith Barsoon, and as Rob said, I am beginning to transition out. I'll get to that in a second. But as someone who has been involved with this movement and this United Way career just short of 43 years, starting in New York City in 1983, and probably 9 communities later, I am here in sunny Florida, sunny and very dry Florida, um, as the interim CEO for the United Way of Lake and Sumter County, which is infamously known as the fastest growing city in the country right now because of a 55 plus organized community called the Villages, the Bubble. And that was our goal, to get down here to retire. And the good news today is actually a really special day. So you're in on a secret. It's not official yet, but the board has found my successor, and that person will be starting on July the 1st, and that will signal my 100 complete end of employment, and I want to keep it that way. But I will continue to serve this organization, and also through it, love my relationships and mentoring that I do, and staying connected with all great folks like you. So that is, and getting back to all the fun that this place has to offer in golf and tennis and cycling and yoga and all the other fun sports and activity.
okay, thanks, Keith. Tricia Smith.
Thanks, Rob. Well, it's great seeing everyone. I started with the Retirees Association in 2001, and in 2017 moved over to United Way Worldwide as the Director of Small Cities. I officially retired in 2024, and I was based in the Alexandria office. When I retired, I was mainly helping. I set up the foundational elements with Angela and LaDawn for the Network Advisory Council. Um, our update is after lifelong East Coasters, my husband and I moved to Bend, Oregon. If you've never been, I highly encourage it. Within a half hour, there's beautiful hikes, waterfalls, rivers, skiing. We are really enjoying it. We moved to the West Coast to be closer to a couple of our kids, to live in Los Angeles with their families, and my son and his wife and our first grandchild are moving to Bend this year. So we're really excited about that. And we have another son who started in the Peace Corps in a country called Moldova, which is right next to Ukraine, and he ended up staying, getting married, and we're going to visit him in June and travel with him in Moldova and Romania. And then at the end of the summer, we're excited. We're going to hike Adrian's Wall. And then, and I'm still working with United Way. Before I moved, I retired in 2024, and in early 2025, Godon asked me to come in and help them with some things with the Network Advisory Council. And when I was in the office, and finishing up that assignment, the learning team asked me if once I moved, I'd be willing to help them with small United Way offerings. So I'm still working part-time with them. They are an excellent team doing just fantastic leadership and learning offerings, the strongest I've seen in worldwide, I think. So it's really fun working on that team and hope to officially retire soon for good, but it's fun. It's a good group.
Great. Thanks, Tricia. Um, Rob Reifsnyder here. I also, like Keith, spent 43 years in the United Way network. Uh, the bulk of my time spent as the CEO of United Way in Louisville, Kentucky, Metro United Way, and then 18 years with the United Way of Greater Cincinnati, retiring in 2018 when I was asked by United Way Worldwide to help them develop a new CEO onboarding program, which I did and helped execute for 3 years. And I still provide a little bit of executive coaching along the way when I get a chance to. In retirement, I've joined 5 nonprofit boards. I didn't get the retirement lesson really, but I'm really enjoying that. One of those boards was United Way Next, and I've rotated off of that board, and I'll rotate off of another one in just a few months. So that gets me down to 3, which is a little more manageable probably. But I'm chair of one board, and we are with 3 other organizations trying to merge 4 organizations into one. I've been involved in some mergers, but never with 3 other organizations at the same time. So it's challenging, but it's also exciting at the same time. And they are all kind of nonprofit capacity building organizations that have some similarities in programs, but enough uniquenesses that coming together, hopefully it'll be the nonprofit center for Greater Cincinnati. I've also, in retirement, I've been doing more traveling, more running, more exercise, more reading, and more sleep. The last one may be the most important. And I guess I would say, because this is the most important thing in my life, my wife has 2 years ago developed stage 4 metastatic breast cancer. She's in treatment and will be for the rest of her life. And that's been a difficult journey for her and for me. But we try to live our lives to the fullest. And most recently, that's included a nice kind of river cruise through the Netherlands and Belgium. And that was just a great trip. And so we're working hard to live every day as if it's an extremely important day, which it is. And hopefully the treatments will enable her to have a continued long life. So really happy to be able to share that she's doing generally pretty well. So with that, I think we'd like to hear from all of you. By the way, hi, Karen Rathke. It's good to see you. I missed you.
I miss you too. And I've been thinking about your wife and you and to this whole transition in your life. But
thanks.
yes,
Thanks.
very grateful that when I served alongside Rob on NPC way back in the day, they put the R's together. So I got to know Rob and Cynthia Round and all of the R people in the United Way world.
It was a great letter, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Dan, why don't we start with you, another old, I'll say veteran friend. It's good to see you as well, Dan.
All right, great to see everyone. I joined this organization a couple of years ago, but this is the first opportunity I've had to join one of the meetings. So thank you all for having this meeting so I can connect with folks. I was a United Way professional for almost 30 years. And Keith, you'll appreciate this. Two things you'll appreciate. One, I was the president of the United Way in Mesa, Arizona for a number of years, and that was the fastest growing city in the country for 3 decades. And so it went from 30,000 to over 350,000. So I know that growth very well. And the other thing I'll tell you, I live actually just north of Tampa. So I also live in Florida, which is why I know Publix. It's less than a mile from my house. But I started my United Way career with the United Way in Tucson, Arizona. And then I left there. And then my next United Way was the United Way in Mesa, Arizona. And then I went to the United Way in Indianapolis as their director of community impact and COO of the Community Services Council. And then I was recruited to come back to the United Way in Tucson to help them transform into a community impact organization because they were stuck. And then I ended my career, and now I'm still working actually. And now I'm working as a consultant, as you can see from my background, with a company called Clear Impact. And some of you may have heard of results-based accountability. So we're the firm that does training on results-based accountability. We have software that helps organizations implement RBA and use data for continuous improvement. So I still work with a lot of United Ways that are using RBA and I've also been a faculty member of the Asset-Based Community Development Institute, if anybody heard of that, for more than 30 years. So that's kind of been my work and my life right now. So again, still working. And I'm not sure when I'm going to retire because the nice thing is now we can work virtually because I was traveling all the time as a consultant. Now that I don't travel, I can sit in my home office and keep doing work. In fact, I have to get off this a little earlier because I'm doing a 3-hour webinar for a health department in California at 4 o'clock. So great to see everyone. And Rob, good to see you.
It's good to see you, Dan. Myra, why don't we jump to you and bring us up to speed and where you've been and what you're doing?
Hello, Myra Goodman. I used to work at United Way of Greater Richmond in Petersburg under the leadership of Sherry Armstrong. I've been away from, this is not actually like Dan, this is my first opportunity to join you guys. So thank you so much for the invitation. I was at United Way, I went to United Way in '87 and was there for 23 years in Richmond. Did all the allocations. I was the planner. I did needs assessments, allocations. You remember all these words. I was a member of the Minority Leadership Development Program at United Way Worldwide. And it was a program that was held, I guess, in the early 90s. And it was a very beneficial program. I think we were probably the last class that they had. I became vice president of community-wide campaigns and actually raised the largest United Way campaign. And actually see behind me, there's the little newspaper article, the largest one in Richmond's history. And that was a delight for me to be able to do that. After doing campaign and deciding that my doctor said, your blood pressure is ridiculous, you need to get another job. And you know what I'm talking about. I became the vice president of organization development and planning as we moved from a transactional organization to a community impact organization. And I co-wrote the business plan for that process. I also was part of the Standards of Excellence United Way Worldwide, and then moving to the area of vice president of operations. So in essence, I have done a little bit of everything within the United Way, and that has been quite beneficial in being the president and CEO of Leadership Metro Richmond, which I was for 15 years, a 45-year-old community leadership organization like Leadership Atlanta, Leadership Louisville, Leadership Greater Richmond. And so my big focus right now, I'm a consultant. I've retired in August. And so now I'm consulting when it comes to governance. If I say this word, some of you may remember this, boardwalk.
Oh,
Boardwalk. That was my first introduction into governance. And ever since then, I've been really I've stayed in that space, especially at community leaders who really get engaged on board and board service. And so that's been my focus. But yes, boardwalk, I'm taking some old United Way terms and actually helped set up the first E-Way campaign. That's another term you remember. So I can tell you that I've been around for a while. Went to Keith's shop in Columbus. He taught us some great things and how we can improve our campaign. That's one thing I always said about United Way. We were always willing to share. From city to city to city, we were always willing to share. And so thank you for me being here.
Great. Thank you, Myra. Thanks for bringing back a few terms that stimulate some memories. Let's see. Tanya, do you want to tell us what you're up to?
Thanks, Rob. All those words, right? E-way, boardwalk. I feel like I'm back, 15 years ago. Blast from the past there. Thank you for that, Myra. I'm Tanya Couch. I support women, specifically faith-filled women who want to be good stewards of their wealth. I am a financial advisor now with Edward Jones, but I spent my first career in the nonprofit sector, spending about 15 years at Small Cities United Ways, just north of you, Rob, in Seymour, Indiana, and in Columbus, Indiana. So lots of small city work done in my lifetime. Spent a lot of time in the program side and then worked my way into the executive director role. So I just love the opportunity to learn and hear from you all and just get reacquainted or reunited with folks that I had a lot of admiration for in that first career, and what helped me, as Myra talked about, that share mentality of always kind of sharpening our skills with others and getting our communities on board to be a better place. So I had a great conversation this morning with our community foundation president and just said, my goodness, how I've been removed from the United Way system for 5 years now, and how in that how disconnected I can feel from community at times, because I'm not in the center of it, with it like swirling around me, like Myra talked about, that blood pressure arising. So happy to be here and just hear and learn from you all.
Hey, thanks, Tanya. And Liz Thornton.
Hi, everybody. I'm Liz Thornton. I live in Vancouver, Washington. I love Bend. I love Bend. Bend is a pretty awesome place to go. In fact, I adopted my dog from that area, and we're going camping there this summer again. So anyway, I love Bend. I retired from United Way of Columbia Willamette in Portland, Oregon, a little over a year ago. I was their CFO, controller, managed the finance department. My entire career has been in accounting, and nonprofit and for-profit. I really enjoy doing nonprofit accounting. And one of the things that I've learned through my years in nonprofit accounting is that there's not a lot of people that can do nonprofit accounting. I'm retired now. I've done some mentorship through United Way Next. Carol's lovely at sending people my way. And I give them a little guidance, then I never hear from them again. So I don't know if I do a really crappy job or I do such a great job that they don't need me anymore. Could be one or the other. I'm always willing. And most of the time I'm willing to do it without pay, because it's the way that I give back to the United Way. The United Way hired me when I was just 3-4 years away from retiring. They knew I was going to retire. They hired me anyway, and they're a fabulous organization to work for. I highly support the goals and the missions. And so whatever I can do to help the United Way, I do. So that's how I serve as a volunteer. I'm also on the finance committee, although I seem to be absent to more meetings than I make, because I like to travel. And I also serve on the local board of directors of the Vancouver Symphony Orchestra here in Vancouver. And I'm going to be transitioning into the treasurer position another year from now. So I give back when I can. And I'm happy to be here and happy to interact with all of you because I love what you all have to say. So that's me.
That's great. Well, one thing I think we know about United Way professionals is that when we retire, we don't back out of the community. We generally try to find ways to continue to help, and that's part of our DNA, I think. Karen Rathke, you are still running a United Way, right?
Yes, I am.
And will be. Keith is retiring in a month or two, but you will be for a while. Tell us about what you're doing and the particular opportunities and challenges you face today as a United Way CEO in 2026.
Yeah, so easy to remember. I started in 2000, so it'll be my 26th year in my role at this United Way. But I love the community. I love the work. Before that, I was a second grade teacher, and then I worked for a different a community action agency and ran a bunch of homeless and near homeless programs. And then I've been at the United Way. We are gearing up. We do something a little different here. We host the One Day of Giving in partnership with the Community Foundation, and so that is next week. So tonight we have our kickoff party. So we're wearing shirts for that. Most importantly, I have 8 grandchildren from 7 down to 4 months old. So that keeps me really busy on my off time, whatever off time, you kind of find to do. But our United Way is, we have 4 full-time and 2 part-time people here. So we're small but mighty, and we've been growing. Our campaign's been growing, but I don't know. We're doing a lot of different things. I think we've got some exciting things maybe around the corner that will transform kind of who we are and what we do and how we do it. But more to come on that. Appreciate Carol and some connections for some, strategic planning connections, planned giving. We're working a little bit more on that. That's kind of a little bit of my succession planning, is that I will kind of work on some of those pieces and leave some of the day-to-day stuff. But I don't know when I'm retiring. I get asked that all the time. So to be determined.
You're too young to retire, Karen. Come on.
Well, for my 63rd birthday, we are doing a Viking Mediterranean cruise that my sister retired. And so we're going to spend some time in Athens, Greece, and then get on the boat. And then we tour the Mediterranean. Then we get off in Istanbul and spend some days. And then we are flying home through Helsinki, Finland. And my sister was like, well, can we, since we're standing or stopping there anyway, can we just stay a few days? They're like, yeah, go ahead. And so we're going to do that. So we're leaving on my birthday, June 20th, and coming home on my sister's birthday, which is July 5th. So
great. That's
it'll
great.
be fun.
Great. Good.
So,
would you, some of us are probably curious, would you think about United Way Worldwide 10 years ago or 5 years ago and United Way Worldwide today? Some of us don't have as much connection there as we once did, obviously. How does it work differently, and how does it support you today?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. I think it's also reflective in just our communities. We had pillars in our community that were at all the Rotary meetings, and you had opportunities to connect with them, and you really valued it, and they're so wise in that experience and all that. And this next generation of nonprofit leaders or new business people, there isn't that same, I think, connectivity opportunity, that mentoring, that informal mentoring. And I feel like I learned so much about the United Way when I was connected with the United Way Worldwide. And I feel like they serve more like a transactional role. They have great people and the people are willing to support it, but it's not as easy or as nimble, I feel like, to or as natural. I don't know. You kind of have to think about, okay, I want to know about this, go search for it, find it, and use it instead of I feel like in the network. Now I still have some opportunities. I'm a part of a couple of groups, but you hear new people, and I feel like they don't have the roots as deep as maybe I did. And maybe I think that's because of that. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I would call you a lifelong friend, and I don't know, but a couple of people maybe at the United Way Worldwide that I would even call as a long life, friend. So
Yeah. 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 Interesting.
mhm.
We're open to questions, comments, thoughts, questions of each other, thoughts you'd like to share in your current work or your current efforts.
Rob, I do think Nancy Pinto was going to unmute. She texted me
Oh,
privately.
oh,
Hi,
yeah,
So,
yeah.
hi guys. Hi, Rob.
Oh,
Sorry.
I'm sorry. I didn't. I
No, no,
was
no, absolutely.
up
And
the whole participant list. Sorry.
I know I'm the one with no camera ever on. Normally I'm driving, so this is a good day, but
Uh,
I
sorry.
just who remembers success by six? That's an old term, right?
Oh, of
yeah.
course, of course, of course.
But Karen is so right about how things are different now. I call and I can't even get somebody's voicemail
Hmm.
at UWW. So I've complained about that a couple times.
Yeah.
But anyway, I've been the CPO at our small United Way. We're about an hour from Penn State College, PA. We're in a little town called Clearfield for over 30 years. And I met my husband through the NALC food drive, which is coming up. But it's just been great. I really appreciate Carol for still getting us all together. Rob, you would remember the name Tom Morris,
Oh,
Senior.
sure.
He got me into UWRA, I think 10 years after I started working, and then Susan White Arnett,
Hmm.
so those are just some of the names, but I just always appreciate, I always say in United Way, we're all like Supreme Court judges. We're all in it till we fall over. So thank you.
Well, talking about old terms, this is really going to date a few of us. How many remember United Way at work and United workplace presence? A
Yep.
few, not everybody, but a few. Yeah, that was what was that? The 1980s, 1990s at the latest, probably. So other thoughts, other comments. Everybody's on mute. So, Karen, are you ready to?
Well, I was just thinking about our whole team got to go. Was very fortunate to attend the CIRC conference, the Southeast Regional Conference. Carol was there, but it was a really great experience. I mean, we learned a lot, and it was overall just fabulous. And the one thought I had was, the United Way 2030 transformation that they're talking about, seeking input and all of that, is interesting. And I guess maybe I'd be interested to hear everybody's thoughts as you've heard like bits and pieces about that, learned about it, to get your thoughts on um, what you think about their ideas and plans, I guess.
How many of us have dived in enough to be able to comment on what Karen just asked? I have to be honest and say I can't.
Yeah, it's well, and I think it's interesting timing too, without, a leader and understanding and knowing kind of who that leader or how that leader might want to lead or their ideas or visions or, that to kind of be in this process. But um, I don't know. I was just curious if anybody had, and I think they're just taking a lot of input. They're asking a lot of questions and, trying to establish committees for, or task force or whatever for some of that. But they align with a lot of our 4 priority areas, obviously, and then the Thriving United Way assessment. But
Yeah.
anyway,
What are your thoughts?
I don't know. I hadn't really heard a whole lot about it, but some of that is, everybody uses email to communicate with everybody about everything, and you just feel like I can't do any more emails today.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I would rather have conversations, and so honestly, I feel like I sometimes miss things or don't dive into something that's going to take me 30 minutes to read, process, and do, 'cause you just don't have the time. I don't right now, but
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. Good point.
yeah.
Rob, I don't know what I must be, I didn't pay attention so far too closely to the transformation and didn't make the town hall. I see we can click on a town hall and maybe want to watch it later. But to me, one of the most important things I've always felt about our national organization is not that it holds a lot of answers, but it's the place for convening as professionals to get to know each other, find key professionals that we have some issues and opportunities in common, maybe size of community or whatever the construct. I always felt I got as far and as successful in my 43 years at United Way because I really found some colleagues I got very close with, and we watched out for each other. We spent time together to understand, share what we felt we were like screwing up on, and being honest with each other. What we thought we might had a good idea, and letting those our best friends, tell us what might be good or not good about it. Uh, that to me is what I think the opportunity that we have as United Ways and the power of connecting as United Ways is really critically important versus waiting to see what the new brand refresh looks like. And it's one thing I will say about the Thriving Network, the framework is it really is a dust off of not much different than the other framework that was called the Modern United Way, but that last pillar of network citizenship. I think, to take this step further, the future of this movement is not what our national organization does. It's how much better we, as United Ways, work harder together and trust each other more and think about the impact we're trying to have, and think about how we collectively do the best we possibly can for corporate partners we have in common and down the line. I think that's, to me, whatever they rebrand the next transformation, this formation, I don't know. But I'm actually, and here's one thing that I'd get booed at by my resource development VPs is, if there was anything I would want worldwide to really do, it would be follow a model like Easter Seals or other big national organizations. I would give them a database of names. I would have them in a heartbeat do a really aggressive, creative national direct mail, snail, email, I don't care which kind, but to do that, I would get what I should get out of that. That would take a burden off my community. I could focus on other things. Anytime that gets floated around, people don't trust the national organization that the money comes back to their hometown. I wish someday if I could wave a wand, I would love to see worldwide execute a very powerful, mass appeal, coordinated by United Ways and how they provide the opportunity for donors or prospects, to be on that list. Save me a ton of time.
Just chime in, echo what Keith said about the network citizenship is a key part of the Thriving United Way. And that's kind of what the transformation was originally built on, is we need to work better as a network. And if we don't show our impact as a network instead of individual United Ways, then we're just not going to be able to move ahead. We're going to continue to lose donors. And so that's what it is initially kind of built upon. And what and they also created a cultural task force to go alongside the transformation, because if we don't change our culture and how we work together, then the transformation will not be able to be actualized. So this is all happening. It's good stuff. Part of one of the issues right now is we just have an interim CEO at Worldwide. They don't have a chief technology officer, and they don't have the chief fundraising officer. So going to corporations right now to kind of back some of this, they want to wait until a permanent CEO is there. So that's holding it back somewhat with the transformation, but they really have some good initiatives under it. And with the Thriving United Way, I think the best evolution from the modern United Way is they built the assessment that you're supposed to do every 3 years on the framework. And a lot of United Ways are now using that to help them have their conversations with their board, and build their strategic plans. And then the learning team has had really good courses, and a lot are for smaller United Ways, about how you build that strategic plan using your assessment. So it's good things coming, I think, but they're in a difficult spot right now, I think, until they get a permanent CEO.
Liz was asking where Angela went. Did she go to another position, or did she just kind of retire? Or
Somebody
She
said
re
she retired.
Yeah, she retired for now. I'm sure she'll go on to something else. Her father died last year. She had moved them into National Harbor, and she moved there also. And she was kind of their main caregiver and helping with them. And then her mother, sadly, is going down the dementia route. And she just felt like she needed to spend time with her family right now. It was a difficult decision. She's used to being a leader, but she made the decision to step back, and take care of her mother right now. So I'm sure she'll pop up in something else in the future.
So, Tricia, I'd like to comment on some of the things that you were talking about with fundraising. One of the things that I noticed when I was ending my time at Columbia Willamette was there was several things that were going on, especially when it comes to workplace giving. It seemed like the workplace giving was really decreasing, although when I was talking to people over on the East Coast, it seemed like people on the East Coast had an easier time with workplace giving than people on the West Coast did. But it felt too like what was happening was is that especially with donations not being tax deductible anymore, people were being careful about where they were contributing their funds. And it seemed like people's money were being stretched a lot thinner than they used to be. And I think that the workplace giving piece really changed the whole view of how United Way was. For an example, and I won't dominate a lot of time on this, but when Columbia Willamette first took on the Central Oregon and Bend, they had a lot of workplace giving, but a lot of it was, okay, I'm going to give you $1,000. 900 of that is going to go to other places, and you can keep 100. And it became not a positive thing for the United Way to be distributing $800 when they were only getting $100, and there was no service fees attached to it. And I mean, one donor gave us $1,000, and we had to contribute all but $50 of it. What does the United Way get out of a $50 donation when they're turning around and sending the other 950 to other places? So I think in response to what you were talking about, it just feels like the view of United Way as a donor to other organization has gotten in the way of the United Way. We have a purpose, we have a vision, and we need you to donate money to us in order to take care of that vision.
And I agree, a lot of the workplace giving campaigns have gone down quite a bit. There was kind of at one point, I think, a movement. We have to totally move away from workplace campaigns. But in some areas of the country, they are still very, very strong. So now they're trying to do a better balance of let's support workplace campaigns where we can and where they're good. But it's a lot now with individual giving, plan giving, endowment giving, and they're doing more teaching around those things, and which is really good. Sadly, with the workplace, United Way, and I see it now, it's a closed circle here, but we're behind in AI totally. Sadly, we were behind in technology starting way several CEOs ago at United Way. So it let all those online giving platforms come in and we were behind the curve. And then, so now a lot of workplaces, some poor CEOs, particularly in small communities, they can't even get in anymore just to talk to somebody. So, but it's a lot of different, I think, technology and cultural shifts that made that happen. And they're trying, that's why part of the transformation is we need to show our impact individually as United Ways and communities and as a network. We've never been able to roll up our impact well as far as what we're doing across the nation and communicating that. So part of the effort is geared to that, and part of how they now collect data is also geared to trying to show that impact better, to combat some of what you're saying, Liz. We need to show we're not just the pass through, we're having the impact in the community, we're the collaborator and the convener.
Karen, what is your experience given your United Way, smaller United Way? Have you been able to maintain a campaign that's strong and vibrant for the community?
You know, we are very blessed. Yes, we have. We just had the last 2 years were record breaking for us, and even in our campaign and then our combined one day of giving, both were. But that is not because we haven't lost businesses or lost workers at businesses. So I shudder to think of how well we would be doing had all of those been able to maintain and just keep growing and not, relying on so much new stuff all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm grateful that we are still in that position. But we have felt, the egg economy, especially here, we have a lot of manufacturing that's, been on overtime for years, and, they're limiting even the third shift, let alone overtime. So we'll see how this year goes, but yeah.
I remember in the 1980s, a lot of the prognosticators were saying that the United Way would be out of business in the next 5 years. And we have suffered in a variety of ways. In many communities, United Way is still strong as an impact leader and even as a fundraiser. Will be challenged for the future. Dick Aft, who has joined us, has become a little bit of a resident expert in AI, so maybe he can help United Way Worldwide get caught up on AI. So
I know you don't have time to really dive in and figure out how you could maximize or use it, but I would love to have somebody just say, here's an hour, let's talk through all of this. But keeping up with so many different things is
yeah, yeah, and that's an area where United Way Worldwide could, if they get a chief technology officer again, could provide some strong experience for local United Ways, I think, in the future. I was just going to say I'm conscious of our time here, and I would like to acknowledge that the United Way Next is in its 35th anniversary year and has had some success bringing people into United Way Next, and in having individuals honor other individuals as part of the 35th anniversary effort. We're also beginning an endowment campaign. And so I'd like to turn it over to Keith and Carol, I guess, for some updating on those things.
Would you like to go first, Keith?
No, I'll let you kick it off.
Okay. Well, I want to say thanks. This has been a great conversation. United Way Next is supporting local United Ways with planned giving. So for anyone who might listen to this later, I know Karen knows that because we've assigned someone out to her team. But we also have an AI session coming up with Andy Abrams is doing it. Andy used to work at United Way Worldwide. So we've got that coming up just here, I think in June. So Ivy's really good about adding all the links to the chat, and as part of the follow-up for people who are listening to this, that will come in the follow-up email as well. So I'm so excited to share with you the results of our 35th anniversary campaign. All of you just are so generous with the support between our board, the staff, and our members. People have truly just shown up in this last year. There were hundreds of people acknowledged and honored. And I know Ivy will share that in the chat or as a part of the follow-up, so you can see on the special tribute page all the people who were honored, and multiple people recognized multiple people over and over again. It's just been really heartwarming. We kicked that off last March. We technically wrapped up the actual 35th anniversary campaign at the end of March, and we raised a total of $27,480. And as a result, we've decided to continue the celebration for another year and kick off an endowment campaign, which I'm going to turn it over to Keith to share a little bit more about that, to keep this momentum going, but also to be great role models in how we can leverage this moment with our endowment that we have at the Foundation for the Carolinas, along with the planned giving plans that we have internally for this next year. So Keith, why don't you share a little bit about the endowment campaign?
Sure. And, first of all, in a fairly small United Way here, 1.5 million, one of the most important things I felt we needed to do to ensure longevity here was to build up, special reserves, unrestricted reserves in any which way we could, because they weren't that strong, and there are now. But I feel very, very strongly, especially for smaller communities, how vital it is to have such a foundation of an endowment of reserves, and that you can also even use for special capital investment, let alone any special, bad year or whatever the need. And I look at United Way Next as the same thing. It's doing tremendous things. I have to shout out, we here had to suddenly lose our head of fundraising. And I actually just, sent a quick message to Carol out of frustration, said, boy, I wish I knew of someone that could jump in here and in there as an interim fundraiser. And then she told me David Nicole is available. I said, oh my gosh, my prayer is answered. And I grabbed him as quick as I could. And that's what the benefit of this organization is for, folks in the network still, as United Way professionals, and for us who are, about or have been retired and still have energy and ideas and thought to do. This is the organization to come, to be a part of and network in, to continue what you can do, whether it's you get a paid assignment or you can lend your expertise as a mentor. This organization needs needs more support. And obviously we're not big in asking people to be, our membership is very, very modest, but we need that foundation. We need this endowment. We need a strong foundation that can help to operate this organization more effective as it can, and grow and exponentially grow membership. So, that's, and as you can tell, my success is because I made network friends. And I think, I hope this was my final move. And we are still unpacking boxes I didn't even know I had buried somewhere. I actually just found inside one of the boxes an address book about this thick, and opened it up, and it is business cards of hundreds of United Way professionals, all that I grabbed from my 43 years. There were names in there from my first United Way of America conference in 1984 up until recent, even down in Orlando last year. This is powerful, and I thought, and it just made me think of all the people I know here, and I still in touch with, and so many I'm not. And that's I think is the power we all can bring. And that's why it's important for me to participate and to ask everyone to think about how to contribute now to the endowment. Contribute today to help that endowment grow. That's what we're asking today. And we're very fortunate that a few people have made a commitment to give you an incentive to do that, to make a contribution this year to the United Way endowment. And a small group of us have coddled some funds and are putting up $30,000. And we're asking you and everyone, every member of United Way Next and others to consider making a contribution that will be matched up to the first $30,000. And let me tell you who the folks are that have put up the funds collectively. Jeffrey and Maria Wilcox from our West Coast area. And Jeffrey is the one who's developed the Interim Executive Academy that many of us have gone through, and we continue to help local United Ways. Dan Dunn from Birmingham, a longtime CEO there, one of the best plan giving United Ways ever in this network. Tricia Smith, who you see here, Amber Kelleher, who I succeeded at United Way Next, Rob Reifsnyder, our special MC, Carol Peters as well, and yours truly. So we ask all of you to think about what this organization, what United Way Next means to you today, and what it could mean to you, and how your support can help us propel further success as you continue to take advantage of your friends and partnerships and other things through the auspices of United Way Next. So please consider doing that. Make a contribution today, a special separate contribution to the endowment. That's all.
Thank you, Keith. Thank you. It's 3:58 here in the Eastern time zone, and we're due to wrap it at 4. Are there any other comments for the good of the cause? Dick, do you want any comments since you didn't get a chance earlier?
Well, I'm very sorry I wasn't able to attend. Amazingly, with a thriving state university here, University of Cincinnati, with 55,000 students, the president continues to level 10% fees on all of the major schools at the university. And I'm on the conservatory board. And again, for the 3rd year, we're fighting a 10% funding cut from a very prosperous university. So it's not just United Way that's dealing with the challenge of economy. So sorry that I was late. Sounds like I missed a really great conversation, especially by such 2 terrific hosts.
Dick, thank you. Thanks to all of you for being with us today. It was really great to meet some new people, but also reconnect with some friends that I've valued over the years as well. So thanks a lot. Anything from you, Carol, as we close, or Ivy?
Ivy, why don't you go ahead and give a shout out for our sponsors? We want to just thank those today. And I want to say thanks to Tricia, Rob, and Keith for being here, and to all of the folks who made that match. Ivy, I'll turn it over to you for the last comments.
Yep, so just a couple of things. When you guys exit, there will be a 3-question survey. If you wouldn't mind filling it out, it would be super helpful for us. We had a great conversation today, so I know I was dropping links constantly. I will make sure all of those are in the follow-up email with the recording. And then I did want to give a shout out to Mutual of America, Front Stream, Third Sector Company, and Board Build. And then I did also want to make sure you guys had the link, and I will send it to you later, for the United Way Worldwide Town Hall with John Farden coming up. And I'll make sure you guys also have the link to that transformation town hall in case you guys wanted to go check that out too.
Great. Just under the wire, Ivy. Thank you very much. Great to be with you all today, and hope we can connect again in the future.
Thanks, everybody. It was great to see everyone.
Bye.